Hello and welcome to this episode of Community Voices Uganda on Civic Space TV. I am Phillip Muliisa. I welcome you all to today's conversation, and today we talk about a matter that is so important in this beautiful country of Uganda. We are discussing money, we are discussing budgeting, we are discussing service delivery, but we want to pay keen attention to a matter that came out a few weeks ago when actually rumors started spreading that the government of Uganda, the presidents of Uganda, and whichever source that could be, because we are yet to, different parties are trying to say they are not aware of whatever is going on, but we have now information that there is money that exchanged hands from one end that claims not to be so clear to an end that is members of parliament of the Republic of Uganda, which states that each member got about 100 million shillings. And the reasons therein talked about is the fact that they participated in the rationalization of the Uganda Coffee Marketing Board into the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and also trying to create an incentive for the upcoming amendment to the UPDF Act and indeed the Constitution to allow the trial of civilians in the General Court Martial that had been, of course, scrapped by the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court of the Republic of Uganda. Joining me on that conversation is a panel of distinguished citizens of this beautiful country, whom I'm going to engage briefly to say hello to our viewers, and we can get into the depth of the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, to begin with, I have Mr. Sakwa Sam Napokoli. Mr. Sakwa, greetings. Welcome to the conversation.
Oh, it has been a long time. Pleasure joining you and the people listening to us, our listeners. It is a very important topic, and I look forward to the debate. Thank you very much. Our moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sam Sakwa. It's indeed an honor having you here, and thank you for making time to join us. I also have the Executive Director of SOWIPA, all the way from Ntungamo, Mr. Edward Natamba. Edward, greetings. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Philip, and thank you very much, panelists. I welcome you also, viewers. I'm happy to be here to discuss this important topic concerning our country. I'm called Edward Natamba, and I work as Executive Director for Southwestern Institute for Policy and Advocacy, call it SOWIPA, as Philip have put it. And really, I'm so blessed to be hosted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edward, for joining us, and we can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. And I also have the Assistant Resident District Commissioner of Kaberamaido District, that is Mr. Arikos Peter. Peter, greetings. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother Philip. I look forward to positive interactions with everyone. And I pray that whatever we shall discuss will give tool towards shaping our country and shaping our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And last but not least, I have the Member of Parliament from Kassanda South, that is the Honorable Kabuye Frank. Honorable, greetings. Welcome to the conversation.
Yes, Philip, greetings to all the listeners and those that are viewing us live, and the comrades with whom we are going to discuss such a very important topic to enlighten the citizens and also to speak about service delivery and its hindrances. So I'm just so humbled to be here, and I look forward to seeing positive remarks from the colleagues we are going to be with at the panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Now, colleagues, let's get into this conversation. Look, we have had a series of talks, a series of conversations about money. There is always money in government. When we talk about the budget, we are discussing money. When we talk about service delivery, we talk about money. But the kind of money we want to talk about today is money that is, in the views of many, money that is doing the wrong job. And we talk about a lot of money. And I want to give you a background of money that is in this sort of structure. When you look through from 2005, we've had about 6 or 7 times we've had money that comes up and it's going to members of parliament, and everyone is questioning, why is this money getting to this destination? And many of you will recall that in 2005, there was an allegation that the members of parliament had been given about 5 million shillings each to support the removal of term limits. That is 2005. In 2011, towards election, 20 million shillings to members of parliament. Again, I will say allegation. 2013, there's a section of MPs when there was a deal, I will call it a deal, to give out oil agreements to a particular company, and these were given to the tune of $20,000. 2017, 29 million shillings towards the Tojikwatako campaign, as it was famously referred to as. 29 to go and make consultations from constituencies. 2020, 20 million shillings to fight COVID, still members of parliament. 2022, 40 million shillings. 2024, we had about 1.7 billion shared amongst parliamentary commissioners for what they termed as a service award in that particular regard. And here we are, 2025. We are still talking about money being given to members of parliament to appreciate them for a particular service, A or B. And in this instance, we're talking about them having contributed to the rationalization of the Coffee Amendment Bill, and indeed forthcoming the amendment of the UPDF Act, and indeed trying to make sure that civilians can go back into the general court martial. I want to start with you, Honorable Frank, because you sit in this house. First of all, have you confirmed that members of parliament, or you yourself, have you received some of this money? Has your account been credited with an extra 100 million shillings? And what is the situation like in parliament? To take us to parliament, sir.
Yes, Philip and other comrades. Yes, I do understand. And I'm so glad that you've given the background of all this scandalous extortion that has been championed by parliament, where we see the leaders who are meant to keep an eye to the treasury to see that the resources, the scarce resources that we do have, are put to priority, not to luxury. You put the list of where they have been the champions of championing the exploitation, the wasteful expenditures, but also the selfish interests, where you see them serving their own goals instead of looking at what could benefit a country as a whole. As you've listed, in many circumstances, we do have, it is in line with their duties. Maybe they would have finished a deal for someone, or they are aiming at completing an assignment for someone, and that someone, we all know, it is the old man, the General Museveni. Many of these people have been working in his favor, and everything they do, the tokens they receive, it is because they have some work done, or they are expecting to do some work on his behalf. Just as you've highlighted about the Tojikwatako, just as you've given the amendment to remove the term limits, just as you've given into the COVID money, and also this parliament, the 11th parliament, has been characterized by corruption. We call it corruption. We cannot just give it any other clear name. Even corruption, we feel like it is so small to bring out the real impact of what it causes, because this is theft. These people are stealing money that is meant to serve the country, money that is meant to develop, money that is meant to cater for the priorities of this, our nation, and they are sharing it amongst themselves. We cannot continue denying that money was not shared. Money exchanged hands. People received the millions. And I think as the deputy speaker had come out to make the argument when Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi tried to raise the matter on the floor of Parliament, and the section of the NRM colleagues were against him. And also the speaker was like, I will not move by the social media gossip and trends, but I do work on facts. As of now, for me, I'm sure, I know there is no money that was shared. That was his remarks. And just a few days after, General Museveni came out and he clarified. Yes, he spoke about the 100 million, but he did not deny giving out the money, neither did he condemn the act, but he just justified why then those that are in power do need to share and appreciate themselves for what they passed through during the war times and how they have been earning a lot. So just that was not clear enough to explain to us why he gave out this money and for what reason. The members who are denying that they didn't receive, we put them to a task. We're like, okay, colleagues, the office of the leader of opposition is a registered department in the Parliament of Uganda. And when we pass resolutions, and those some of these resolutions are for the good of our country, you're all entitled to believing in it or following it or condemning it. So we were like, for us in the sides of the opposition, and also we are calling on even comrades, those that are in the NRM side, come out. If you know you didn't receive any money, come and append your signature on the resolution that we've passed, because we resolved that we shall not pick the money, we shall speak against the money, and we shall expose whoever took the money. So we called them to come and append their signatures against their names to show the country that, yes, you know what, money was exchanged, but I was not part of that route. I was not part of that thuggery, and I'll never be part of the corrupt. We received only 72 as of Monday. We had only 72 members of parliament, mainly from the opposition side, that had signed against this resolution, proving to the country that, you know, we never received any money, we were not called to pick any money, or we don't know about the money. Sad, as you said, if I received any extra 100 man on my account, this money didn't go through the right payment channels. It did not go through the accounts. This money was handpicked. People, members of parliament, moving at 2 a.m., moving at 1 a.m. and beyond, going into a premise or going on the road just with bags of money to receive their take. And there is no amount of justification you can give. The money that they received, the money they shared, members of parliament moved at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. And that was Monday night when this all things started. Members of parliament moving at night, risking their lives to pick their 100 million, moving with bags, some disguising to be ladies when they are male. They were moving in gomeses, some were hiding their faces. And they wanted to go and pick their 100 because it is an appreciation from the big man. These are the people that are tarnishing the image of the parliamentarians, because there is no way an honorable member can be moved to kneel or to move even at 2 a.m. just to go and steal 100 million. That is not something they can justify or speak about.
Thank you, Honorable. I
the
think
clips
what you
came
say...
out, as you saw. The clips came out, and these clips could not expose the real faces or the clear faces, because it was recorded. Also, the driver that recorded and sent us that video was doing it in hiding, and was a driver to one of the beneficiaries. But at least in that video, you could see clearly some MPs with bags entering at night. And this money was not served in parliament. As they entered, they could just go through to the Prime Minister's office. So in the Prime Minister's office, that's where they received their 100, and it was in 5,000 notes. So imagine 5,000 notes that make 100 million, and you see a member of parliament, you see, as old as they are, some of them, they were able to lift that. They never called for help. They never wanted anyone to aid them. We usually see them making their drivers hold bags, but this time around, they were able and they could afford. They had all the energy to lift their route, and they had to go.
Hilarious. Thank you, Honorable, for that account. And I want to engage some of the colleagues on that particular revelation you make.
Just a simple one as we finish, because you asked if I had received the money. Just to clarify, I never received any money, and I will not take any money.
Probably you didn't have the energy to carry that back. But thank you so much for that.
Maybe young as I am, they think I didn't have
clarification. I want to pick from you, Mr. Sakwa. Look, you had what Honorable Kabuye has just told us. People moving in the dimness of light at night, 2 a.m., 1 a.m., people carrying bags, people going to the Prime Minister's office, like he mentions. Before you even talk about what this money could have done, what does this say of the members of parliament we have as a country? Yes, Mr. Sakwa.
Thank you very much, Philip. I am not surprised because since before I came back in this country in 2010, I was working in South Africa, and I was following events in the country. And from 2005, when the issue of the money started, it has been ongoing. I came back in 2010, and I have been following what is going on. There has been a plethora of money changing hands in parliament. And this is an august house. And this is really very disgraceful. It is something which is, it is very unbecoming, because we expect an august house. And I believe our members of parliament are well remunerated to do the job. But now it is becoming too much, that instead of doing the job of legislation and so on, the parliament has become a clearinghouse. It has become a theater where people just go there to, like now, the way the Honorable MP explained, it's as if there was a haste coming just to grab the money. it is, the whole thing just plays out as if a haste. These are things we have been watching on movies happening, getting money with thugs in vehicles, and then they waylay, get to the banks and get the money. So the parliament, I'm sorry to say, to get to that level, it is something which is really very disgraceful and despicable.
Mr. Sakwa, they've told us that these MPs are being appreciated for a service that they render to the country. Is it bad to appreciate people when they offer a service?
Why appreciate an appreciation through backdoor means? Why does it not become an open thing? And why an appreciation for the work, for taxpayers' money, where they are earning, they get even allowances for sitting and so on? Why? And why should it not be in the open? And whether from whatever source, whether from the President's office, because the President's office, we take it as a fountain of honor. And when it is from Parliament where they get these monies, it is all shocking. Why should they do it? And why do it behind the scenes? We want it to be open because this is taxpayers' money. And then, like, for example, we get monies where they even get supplementary budgets and classified budget for the President's office. But really, now, when they now get the recent 100 million route booty, is it classified? Moderator, I think we are being taken for a ride as Ugandans.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sakwa, for that. And indeed, when you look at how this money came through Parliament and how it was budgeted to, you have about 3.5 trillion shillings that was passed, and in that you had classified money, which in turn ended up being used allegedly for this particular service that we see ending up on the side of members of Parliament. So certainly saw the word classified features somewhere in relation to whatever is going on. I want to hear from you, Edward, your thoughts about this whole situation that is happening. Money coming from allegedly the president's office to members of Parliament, whether it's appreciation, whether it's a gift, and indeed, it has been a trail over time, 2005, 2011, 13, 17, 20, 22, 24, and now 2025. Is this the way things are supposed to be done in a country like Uganda that often struggles to raise resources for particular government projects? Yes, Edward. Please unmute.
Thank you very much, Philip. And I want to really thank the previous speakers for brainstorming on this issue we are discussing. The issue of corruption in Uganda, it's really, when I'm discussing it, I feel even crying, because in Ntungamo, where I do my work, I'm a person who have visited so many service centers, service delivery centers, and I know what is there. MPs taking this money, I think it is now becoming a culture, but also distorting really their image. And I don't know who will save this country, because to me, I think the Speaker of Parliament and his deputy would be actually the ones who can save us from this saga. But when you see the Deputy Speaker also trying to hide whatever really is being done in Parliament, then sometimes I wonder who is going to save this country. Actually, I'm happy that Honorable Frank has put it very well. I was on a radio last Saturday, and people were saying now you can see even opposition have taken the money. And actually, for me, I was open. I said, even opposition members of Parliament are also human beings like others. Because we have seen them refusing taking that money in a number of occasions, but what has changed? What have they changed? This is the money, even if you don't take it, you want to know the balance where it has gone. So really, it is so disheartening. I've been in health centers where I sit on health unit management committees and the schools for government. And when you reach there, you see the structures that are there. You even wonder. 100 million per MP. In Ntungamo, we have 6 MPs. That is 600 million. And let me tell you, Philip and the viewers, in last financial year, Ntungamo district built only 3 stencil pit latrines in 3 health centers. 3. And each toilet is costing around 13 million. Now here we have MPs, 6 MPs in Ntungamo. Let me use an example of my district, where 6 MPs are taking 600 million each as a total. You can imagine if you divide that money to the health centers in Ntungamo, how many toilets would we build? Or even in schools, do you know how many schools that don't have even toilets in those schools, government schools? So really, I think Uganda is, I don't know how I can define it, but it is becoming something else. We are the country with high number of members of parliament, close to 450. They are there. We have members of parliament who have never even spoken a word in that parliament. And then we have the head of executive. He's saying we are rewarding those MPs. You can imagine. Out of 6 MPs in Ntungamo, I know how many have spoken, by the way, in front of parliament. We have an MP who cannot even speak. And those are the people who are earning 100 million. Then you have this 100 million actually going to parishes as parish modeled funds. The 100 million is being divided to the whole parish. So I think for us Ugandans, our role is to condemn such things. We are going to continue talking. But as previous speakers said, you know, the fish starts to rot from the head. If you have somebody who have been celebrating, they have like these anti-corruption runs every year. You find a lot of billions being spent in Kororo that they are fighting corruption. And the same person who is the guest of honor is the same person disbursing 100 million members of parliament. Members of parliament, when they are passing these bills, when they are rationalizing these parastatals, they are doing their work. They are being paid. The taxpayer is paying these people. So there is no reason why they should be rewarded. So I think we are entering into a situation where Ugandans, the poor are going to remain poor and the rich are going to be rich. And actually for me, even this money that is coming in our parishes, I see any time we are going to face inflation. Because you find money is being disbursed, money is now being divided into parliament. We don't know where it is coming from. We don't know what they are going to do. So at the end of the day, you find that inflation is going to affect our country.
Thank you so much, Edward, for that reaction. And indeed, you raise important things, including the toilets you talk about and what kind of money can put up how many toilets. I think that is very important, especially for the good health of our people in the communities. Thank you so much. I want to hear from the RDC here. When RDC, look, oftentimes we know that when there is a gift or an award given to someone, it is either due to having served so well that you need to be appreciated, or you undertook a very serious risk that you have to be compensated for the service you offered. Where are we in terms of having to be paid for this service? Yes, Bwana Arikos.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Phil. I didn't hear your last statements, but I'll pick it up from there. First, I want to say that I'm going to treat this as an allegation because I have not read anywhere where the president confirms or denies about the 100 million shillings. But I want to start by saying this. I want all of us to stop pitting MPs against the parishes. It is very important that we stop pitting MPs, the honorable members of parliament, against the parishes. Both arms of funding are complementary. What we need is collective accountability from leaders. What we need is collective accountability from citizens and oversight institutions. The 100 million that is allegedly being given to the members of parliament and the 100 million under the PTM are not the same in purpose, and they serve different but complementary roles. I want to say this, as an assistant RDC, it is not true that corruption is everywhere. We must differentiate between isolated incidents and systematic failures. Where misuse has happened, government is always going to take an action, and it has always taken action in that regard. The allocation of the 100 million to MPs and the 100 million to each parish under the parish development model, to me, if it is very true, then it reflects the government's commitment to both the top-bottom and the bottom-up development. Because the idea is not a redundancy, but a synergy. I don't know if I've been got in that point. The idea is not a redundancy, but it is a synergy. MPs support broader national. They support broader national and constituency level projects. While OPM empowers grassroots developments directly. So I think it's very important for us to have those differences laid out. One of the things that we must know is that MPs are legislators, but they also play a vital oversight and a mobilization role. The 100 million that is being allegedly say that has been given to the MPs can be used for quick interventions, especially in emergencies or critical infrastructure needs that national and parish programs may not actively actually address. And one of the reasons that I will talk about is the PDM money. It is targeted for structured, longer-term, inclusive economic transformation. So you realize if it is true that the MPs received the money, the wise ones are going to use it to support those students. Some of them have been sponsoring. Because you see, some of these MPs are struggling. That is the fact. So if it is true that the president decided to appreciate them, then it is going to make most of them to offload the loads that they had. Most of these MPs are suffering. These MPs, Bwana Phillip, are educating a lot of people in their districts. They are treating almost the whole district. Most people line up at their doorsteps for money. So at the end of the day, if you get good leaders, this money will find its way to the people. I am not saying it is true because I have not yet confirmed anywhere. But I'm trying to say, if it is true that it was given, then the right people will use it for the right purpose. Instead of demonizing public expenditure, let us focus on how communities are benefiting. That is what I think we should focus on. Many parishes.
So Peter, if you allow me,
just
when
a minute,
you say that,
I'm trying
okay,
to say this. Many parishes have built success. I mean, many parishes have built circles, and then youth groups and women-led business using the PDM, using the PDM funds. And some of the MPs are actually aware that if they do not go back and do what is needful of them, then most of them are not making it to parliament. They're actually not going to come through. The people are going to vote them out. You see that? The people are going to vote them out. Oh, you requested for a video. Thank you. So, Mr. Phillip, there is a lot that we can talk about, but I want to say that as an assistant RDC, my mandate includes monitoring these programs. I want to assure the public that the government has put in place strict accountability measures to track the use of the funds. The PDM now has a Sakwa level. It has Sakwa level audits, digital tracking systems, and then coordinated monitoring by the Operation Wealth Creation, the IGG, and our offices, the RDC office. So for MPs are answerable to their constituencies and the parliament. And misuse is subject to scrutiny. I think for now, that is what I'm going to share. I know we shall keep sharing more. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana RDC Peter Arikos from Kaberamaido, and you raise fundamental issues there, including the fact that giving out this money supports both the bottom top and the top bottom ways of assisting development in our communities, but also government having put together strict accountability measures to make sure whichever money is given out is used in the right way. And I'll pick more from you in terms of trying to clarify on the two, but I want to bring in Honorable Kabuye here quickly. Honorable, first of all, I want to pick your thoughts. When this money is given out, the way we are looking at this 100, is it true that it is money that can be monitored for a particular purpose in the constituency at the national level, or it is just money at the discretion of individuals? But two, do you think this is an approach that can actually contribute to development and indeed the transformation of our communities, the constituencies we talk about? Yes, Honorable.
Yes, thank you, Philip. I would like to thank the other two comrades who spoke about the issue, but also the Assistant RDC. I will thank him for his contribution because it builds the debate and it gives more insight on what really happens in government institutions and positions that are created maybe as a token of appreciation to individuals, not with the goodwill of serving the country and the nation at large. Yes, when he says that maybe this is one way of bringing back service to people, first of all, there's no track on the expenses. There's no audit on how these people are going to spend the money. Just like you give someone a tip, maybe at a hotel, or someone who has given you a service and you give them a tip, you don't follow up to see what they spend or how they spend that money. They will spend it on whatever issue catches their eye. Some might spend it on luxury. Some might decide to do the basic. You don't have any control on how they implement that money, unless if it came with guidelines and it was in clear channels. But if it was given in hideouts, how do you expect them to give clear guidelines on how they should spend? Because the institution denied it. And if it denied it, then how come it can come out with a clear mechanism on how they approach to see members, how they spent the money, or if they are keeping it, or if they used it for the intended
if you allow
reason,
me,
if it is clear.
The RDC tells us that in any case, these members of parliament are assisting very many people in the communities in terms of paying school fees, in terms of providing food and many other services they offer directly to the people. Is it one of the things you think this money will end up contributing in the constituencies?
That's why you know, when you're speaking a lot of lies, you end up messing yourself. So that alone justifies that the government is messed. The institutions are broken. And him, as the representative of government, he has just given us information how the roles of government shifted to individuals holding positions or political positions. Because why would I be battling with giving Medicare to my constituents if government has staffed and equipped the health centers that are there? Why would I be struggling to pay school fees when government has capacitated the government schools that are in my community? But that alone, because the state or the institutions have failed, then the pressure comes on the MPs. And this is the same pressure that is pushing them, or that is pushing indirectly to them, such that they can be trapped into the corrupt scandals and they can give that justification. But I, for one, I believe wrong is always wrong, even if it is done by millions of people. And what is right will always stay right, even if it is done by one person in a million. So there is no clear justification we can give that members of parliament are being pressured. We are all members of parliament. We are all facing the same challenges. And some of these guys, you find them, they are 3 terms, 4 terms, 2 terms members. They are not new in parliament. They have been in parliament. These are professors. These are people holding bachelors. These are people running businesses. People you wouldn't expect to be on financial pressure from the constituents. But these are the same people leading the haste, as one member suggested or called it. These are the people you see driving nights to go and collect the money. So there is something that we lack in this parliament, and that is financial discipline. Knowing our value as leaders. You know, I sometimes question myself and I'd be like, do these members really know what a member of parliament is? Who are we? Because they have made us all lose sense. They have made us lose the respect from the public. Because I remember, I think it was Mr. Sam saying, yes, I've seen, I think it was the team coordinator from Muntungam. It was like, members of opposition have always come out to deny and resist taking this money, but we usually see nothing change. Even if you refuse, it will still be taken by the giver and it will be taken to waste. Yes, we shall not come out to legitimize what is wrong, trying to be like, even if we don't do that, let us come out and condemn it as a whole, as you've done, as you've spoken against it. We have to do this because we own the country. The country is for us all, and we all have equal shares. Us being in positions of leadership even gives us more vulnerable shares that we have to be accountable to persons. because we are accountable to the people. Though it is now changing the narrative, that now it is the people that are accountable to us. The leaders are no longer respecting the people they lead, but you see the public. That's why you see, yes.
Honorable Philip, I wanted to say something before I forget. I think my brother, comrade, brother Honorable Frank, is listening to reply and not to understand. I clearly said that MPs are answerable to their constituencies and the parliament. Any misuse is subject to scrutiny. And you see, you are absolutely right that what is right stays right, even if only one person stands for it. But that principle should also apply across the board, including when standing up against pressure. Whether you are a member of parliament or a citizen, if MPs are being pressured, then we should be even more concerned with whether they are standing for what is right or not. We should be more concerned whether they are standing for what is right, not just what's convenient or popular. Integrity isn't measured by a number of people doing something, but by the courage to do it despite the cost. So if something is truly right, then it is very important for you to support it. How many times have you stood up in the floor of parliament to support so many activities of government that bring about the change in health, that bring about the change in the road network and all that? And that is the point at which I'm coming at. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable, you may come.
Yeah, I think Comrade Peter will need to go maybe and look through the answered, if he could access it, or through other parliamentary channels to see our submission as the opposition, and also my personal submissions to government programs and government initiatives, unlike those that we see as skits for embezzling more funds, where government is just injecting public money without even agreements with the persons they are giving this money, like for Inspire Coffee, because government has so far injected close to 140 billion, and there is no any memorandum of understanding or any other agreement for that fund. And when we interacted with them, we're like, now, on which basis are you receiving government funds? They were like, we are still working under a good man's agreement, and very soon we shall be going into signing agreements with government. But close to 140 billion has been given to those institutions. When we come out to speak against this, we are not fighting government, but we are fighting what is wrong. Because at any one time, these people can turn against government, or government can turn against these individuals, and they take their investments. So for me to speak against corruption, I'm not under any pressure. The list never created any pressure, because the cause to receive the money came before the list, before the resolution to go and append the signatures. We received the cause. We got information on where and how to pick it, but we resisted and we refused, because we know we shall be committing a crime. We shall be doing a disservice to the people that entrusted us to be in these positions, because the positions we hold come with a benefit. Though we are under tasks to serve, but to also receive benefits as members of parliament. And that's why you see many people struggling to come into these positions. But if you come and you don't want to perform with the integrity or work with the integrity, then you lose it. You kill the meaning. You end up being part of the corrupt. I've seen my brother Peter saying corruption is not so rampant just in isolated cases. But corruption is everywhere. Corruption is everywhere. Yesterday, General Museveni was in Kassanda and was questioning people about the roads. You know, Kassanda Chiboga Highway, it would be a highway, the Kassanda Chiboga Road. It is not tarmacked. And yesterday when he was there, he was questioning people. I put this project, I spoke about this in 2005, and I promised to work on this road. Why hasn't the initiative started? But he forgot that recently, while he was in Mubende, he spoke about the same road, and he was like, I am making it a priority to be worked on. So when he was here, because he was in the local and the immediate consumers, who are asking, our road, you've come in dust, you've seen the road. He tried to get someone to sacrifice. Was like, where are the engineers? Have you tried to move the papers? Why isn't this road worked on up to now? Kassanda is, we moved here in the war. I remember even in the trek I was here. So that has been the narrative. Corruption in Uganda is one of the factors that are hindering service delivery in our country. That's why I will request members and colleagues to go and interact with the opposition alternative budget and the legislative, the ministerial policy statements with the theme of combating corruption, assure way to service delivery. With the few highlights that we put there and a few programs that we mentioned about, you will be able to see how clear Uganda could be if we had accountable leaders. Leaders would be accountable for their action, but also for the decisions they make on behalf of the electorates and on behalf of the country that we have. Because we have one country and we have to fight to build sanity in it.
Thank you, Honorable Kabuye, for that. And it is quite strong and important that we keep having those interactions and engagements. I want to hear from you, Edward. Look, earlier you talked about a series of government institutions, including the IGG. You spoke about police, you spoke about parliament and how things can be monitored therein. But I want to hear now, these things keep happening, but realize whereas there is a contention as to whether they are right or wrong. If they are wrong, how could we create a boundary? How could we stop this from continuing to happen, and we make sure that whichever services are supposed to be brought into our communities are actually going through the rightful channels, and indeed there is efficiency in trying to implement whatever service has to come to the people? How do we streamline this? Yes, Edward. I think Edward cannot hear me. You could have connection challenges, but we shall hear from him as he joins us once again. Also, Mr. Sakwa has connectivity challenges, but we shall have them back as we continue with the conversation. I want to, in the meantime, come to you, Bwana RDC, because you mentioned about corruption briefly, but also telling us about this bottom, top, and top to bottom. Which is more sustainable? If we keep giving out, like you mentioned, you give 100 million to one member of parliament, and it is the same money you allocate to a parish that in some instances, for example, in the central region here, there is a parish that has over 50,000 people. Does that make sense in terms of what share each person can get and what they can be able to do out of that going forward? How do we streamline to see that the systems that should be working in that particular regard are actually working and delivering the services they have to deliver? Yes, Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Phil. There is something that I want you to write on the tablet of your heart tonight, and that is the PDM funds are meant for the people. The biggest weapon against corruption is uninformed and engaged citizen. The community must track, question, and participate in implementation of this. So the question that you have asked me, I'm going to approach it by saying that let's not look at MPs and the PDM as opposing forces. You get it? If we first stop to look at that as opposing forces, then you will see the point at which I'm coming from. Both are tools of development. What we should focus on is ensuring that every shifting reaches the intended beneficiaries and then the ordinary youth. Every program, everything that the government is trying to do, it reaches that ordinary Uganda. The government has not only invested money, but also it is a trust in the people. The government has not only invested money, but also it is a trust in the people. And as an assistant RDC, I am here to ensure that this trust is not broken. Let's stop the blame and start building together. Development is not going to happen if we are fighting one another, if we are throwing stones to one another and all that. Because I'm very sure if Honorable Kabuye had also carried that heavy bag, I'm very sure that he would not be part of this discussion tonight. But at the end of the day, development is happening in the country, and it is our duty to protect it from corruption, misinformation, and misuse. I pray that we actually engage in positive discussions that will help us to build our country together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bwana Pipa. Edward, are you able to hear me now? I think Edward cannot hear me. Honorable, going forward, how can we correct some of these mistakes that keep happening in our, not just parliament, but also other institutions of the state? We keep talking about the mistakes that happen in the judiciary, the mistakes that happen in the ministries and the departments at all levels of leadership and management of this country. How can they be corrected so that going forward, we do not have to struggle with who is going with what that does not belong to them, but rather we are having the right services, we are having people do what they have to do, we are having people of integrity, and indeed the country is progressing and growing for the better. Yes, Honorable.
Yes, Philip, you know, that question requires us to be all involved from all key players. One time I was speaking about corruption somewhere, and then one of the moderators was like, you know, we've been like fighting corruption, but in the end, you see, when you go maybe to the hospital and you find that you are in a big queue, you see ladies having something to give in to the persons managing the queues to see that they are put at the front. Our local people. When maybe you are in traffic, you've been stopped at a traffic roadblock, then you're at the checkpoint, you see that you're having maybe some laws that you've gone against, then you be like, let me get for you something kintu kidogo to facilitate you, officer. I'll work on that. And these are all aspects. So this is the reality of life. So to fight corruption, I think we just have to own the country as a whole. Starting from the local person, the peasant farmer from our the lowest or the most remote constituency or area, we have to own the country at heart and love our country and want to see a better Uganda. But also as leaders, because what the leaders do motivates what the people or the citizens do. If the head of state is very rough against corruption, if he's very serious and acting against corruption, you will see even those in departments, even those in communities, fear to be part of this because they know it will be against the law and it is something that they can be held accountable for. Just as you know, other criminal cases like murder, many people do fear to commit such cases because they know they will be charged in courts, they will face sentences, they will be punished. Because if it wasn't for that, you would see a country where blood is everywhere. We would be living in a community or in the world where people don't fear killing anyone. Just like you see, we slaughter chicken and you're not concerned because, you know, for the chicken rights, no one is going to blame you for making it for sauce. So we would be living in that community. So we need, if we are to fight corruption, we need serious and active leaders who are going to speak against corruption, but also desist from practicing corruption. Because if you're speaking against corruption, when you're acting contrary, automatically the public will be in the know and they'll be like, these are just comedians. These are just speaking against it in the camera, but they go behind and do practice it. So that's why when my brother was like, if Honorable Kabuye had been part of this, he wouldn't be here. Yes, I would say I wouldn't be, and I don't know that situation because I've never been part of any corrupt scandals that have been at Parliament. Philip mentioned about the 40 million and this 100, but I tell you, we had the 40, we had the 100 in December 2023, and now this that has come at this time. So there have been numerous cases, and when you go into the different audit reports that we've been getting about Parliament, you see that a lot of public fund is put to waste. So I think the general public should try to get leaders that they can hold accountable, leaders that also fear to take decisions that are going to be against the law, just because they know, yes, in the end, I'll be held accountable by the public or by the laws of the country. Leaders who are not going to take decisions that they know that they are wrong, just because they know, no, I'm powered, maybe I'm the cow, I'm the RDC, I'm the MP, I'm the president, but leaders who will think about the future of our country, Uganda. Because in this country, when you look at the 54 billion that was shared out, it can do a lot of great work. Let's say a secondary school, a good one with a good playground that is made with everything facilitated, it runs around 4.9 billion. So meaning over 10 schools, 10 or 11 schools were taken away and were shared by members of parliament in the 11th parliament as a way of appreciation for taking and moving the Coffee Amendment Bill, but most heartily by the incoming bill, because we know government is planning to introduce the UPDF Amendment Act. That is a law that is going to be trying to see civilians, you and me, being tried in military courts, because they want to capacitate the military court martial to a level of a high court. So that alone was that was part of the move. And yesterday, I got some information that the chief negotiators with the General Museveni had requested for 200 million. Then he was like, no, I have 100 for you. You go with that. So I think my brother
what a
Peter
revelation
is just a simple one to Peter. My brother, you know, we share a generation, I can say. We are in the generation that is looking on taking on the leadership of our country, but also we anticipate to be here for a longer time than our grannies or our parents. I think, yes, even if you're positioned somewhere, it is right for you to come out and speak against any injustices, any bad act of government officials, or even in the public, just as you fight and try to work to protect the image of government and the programs of government. And so we need you to come with neutrality and speak against any injustices. If an act is wrong, you speak against it. Don't fear anything. They will not be like, he spoke about corruption and he condemned corruption. Now it's bad. The public will welcome you, because in the end, we do reside in the same communities. We do share the same challenges. Yesterday, but one, I'm sorry to take a longer time. Yesterday, but one, I received a call. My granny had a toothache and it was going beyond, because all his head was swelling. They reached in the health center that is close to home. It had no medicine. They could not work on him. They referred to him to Mityana. On reaching in Mityana, they put him on a drip for like 2 hours and nothing was done. They took the samples. They were like, we've not gotten anything. We are recommending Mulago. And the guy is now hospitalized in Mulago, but also the situation in Mulago, you know, we are fighting to see that someone doesn't have to move 100 kilometers in pothole roads to go and get treatment for a toothache. So I think it's high time we all acted to save our country.
Thank you, Honorable, for that. I think it clears the point and it makes it so clear on how we should work around this particular monster in our society. Mr. Sakwa, we lost you for some time, but if you can hear me now, kindly, we are looking for solutions. Briefly, how do we make sure we can put together all the systems to see that everything works the way it is supposed to work, and in the end, we have a progressive and developing and country that serves its peoples? Yes, Mr. Sakwa. Mr. Sakwa, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, please.
Yes, I am sorry that I lost because of the network and I lost the conversation. I just want to put some correction on what the Assistant RDC talked when he was letting PDM and then also to the parliament, their work and how they work. Now, a quick one is that, yes, I realize I stay in the village and I appreciate what PDM is doing and it is trying to change the lives of people. Yes, but I wish such monies which were spent being given to members of parliament was added so that it can even expedite the process of PDM. It would be a much better service. And then giving 100 million to MPs free, and yet you are giving these rural people 100 for the whole parish, and yet they are supposed to pay back. It is being very unfair. Now, getting that back to your question, the issue of what should be done. I think if we were to utilize our resources properly as a country, we would be at another level. We would have achieved middle income status long ago. And if our fountain of honor and the government had started just like as much as they did in 1986 up to 2005, I think this country now would be a real different place where everybody, every Ugandan would be enjoying. But now the whole thing is that corruption is just too much, and it permeates right from the top. From the president's office, the fountain of honor, when he gives now such monies to members of parliament who have already been paid and have been given allowance to do their work. It is really very, very unfortunate about that. And then, because we cannot say it was just an allegation as the RDC mentioned, it's because the president himself confirmed. While we are doubting, he confirmed. So it is not, let us stop to pretend. Whether we are having offices and we are going to help this country when we do what is right and talk what is right and we condemn what is not right. That is going to help us. But if we can put more money, for example, into the UPE use, because the money which is being put into use, and now they are saying, they are telling rural people, the president directive, the RDCs are telling, no, please don't send away the kids. No school should add anything. And yet the money is not enough. It is peanuts. So now if the parents themselves organize so that they support their own children, that is, I don't see that problem. Now, the money should be added. Such money should be added to make sure that UPE and the use is really gets to the schools, to the health centers, so that we get better service delivery. So what we need to reevaluate the country. So where have we reached? Where have we come from? Can we redraw? Can we come back to the drawing board and do what is right from the top up to the bottom? I think our problems will be realized because the resources we have, the resource envelope we have in Uganda, it can do a better job for the prosperity of our country and the children.
Thank you,
Mr. Phillip.
Mr. Sakwa. Yes,
Yes.
I know you want to respond to that. I will request you do that just so quickly in about 30 seconds.
Thank you. I know we're almost coming to the end, but I would love to respond to both my brother Honorable and then Mr. Sakwa, that I firmly stand against all forms of corruption. I believe in transparency, accountability, and ethical conduct in all aspects of governance and public service, because corruption undermines trust, hampers development, and erodes the very foundation of our society. I am committed to promoting integrity and holding those in power accountable to ensure a just and equitable system for all. You see, there is something that I wanted to add on to, it's something that I would say I'm going to add it to what Honorable
Quite briefly, sir.
Yeah. The idea, if it is true, the idea of giving MPs 100 million each isn't wrong in itself, especially if it is meant to support the development in their constituencies. The problem isn't the money, it's the accountability. The problem is not the money, it's the accountability. before we criticize government for allocating these funds, if it is true, we should be asking, what have the MPs already done with what they have been given before? Have they shown impact? If they have, then this money can be a tool for progress. But if not, we have every right to demand transparency and performance. Let's not reject development funding outright, but rather let's just make sure it's being put to work for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, RDC, and maybe I will crown that by saying that there is a likeness that was made to that in the name of if you have a child and you're sending them to school, when you give them pocket money, it's highly rare that you will go and ask them, how did you spend that 50,000 that I gave you? Did you eat samosa or cassava? But that's a conversation we shall have another time. Colleagues, the conversation is so sweet and we would love to continue with it, but unfortunately we've run out of time. I would say, Mr. Arikos, Peter, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your thoughts and indeed making time for the conversation. Arikos Peter is the Assistant RDC of Kaberamaido District. Honorable Kabuye Frank, Member of Parliament, Kassanda South. Thank you so much for your views. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining Community Voices on Civic Space TV. We appreciate you so much. Mr. Sam Sakwa, first of all, sorry about the connection challenges, but we appreciate so much your thoughts and indeed making time for the conversation. I appreciate you all, and special thanks to our viewers. Thank you for keeping it Community Voices Uganda, and thank you for keeping it Civic Space TV. Special thanks to the Center for Constitutional Governance and all our partners. Thank you to the technical team, and I continue to call you on to follow our programs all over on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, and all our channels. We always have engagement there. Follow us up, put a comment, contribute to the conversation, and indeed, we shall build this country together. I am Philip Muliisa, and I shall see you next time.